In a stunning and unexpected turn of events, the New England Patriots emerged victorious over the Denver Broncos in a fiercely contested, low-scoring AFC Championship game that finished 10-7. The contest, which some have dubbed a pseudo-snow game due to a late flurry, was a defensive struggle ultimately decided by a razor-thin margin. The harsh truth, and what will be particularly difficult for Denver Broncos supporters to swallow, is that their team was in a prime position to win this matchup. They absolutely should have secured the victory. The defense performed admirably. It would be easy to point fingers at the weather conditions or the circumstance of playing with a reserve quarterback, but the core reality is that a critical juncture was mishandled. They had an opportunity to establish a 10-0 lead with a field goal. That single decision, that lone choice, would have fundamentally altered the entire equilibrium of the game. One could argue that it would have merely made the score 10-10 later on, but even that shift changes the entire dynamic. This is without even considering the subsequent sequence of play calls that unfolded, which directly led to the pivotal turnover, officially ruled a backward pass, that resulted in an effortless walk-in touchdown for New England's Drake May, who received the ball already within the 20-yard line. Consequently, the Broncos found themselves in a situation where, instead of holding a commanding 10-0 or even a 10-3 lead with all strategic options available, they were left defeated due to the actions of their own team. Because of the decision-making from the Denver sideline, spearheaded by head coach Sean Payton, they lost a 10-7 contest. It's a pretty wild outcome. It's almost humorous because as I'm recording this live, I see remarks in the chat like, "Oh, Drake May is going to the Super Bowl before Josh Allen." And I must emphasize, the final score was 10-7. It was 10-7. Even with a backup quarterback under center, the Broncos were in a position to defeat Drake May and the Patriots. The outcome ultimately hinged not on spectacular playmaking from New England, but on specific choices. It wasn't due to unbelievable individual efforts, nor was it strictly because of poor execution by Denver or even by quarterback Jarrett Stidham, who admittedly did not have a standout performance. This game was lost specifically and decisively due to decision-making. It stands as a textbook case of how in-game strategic choices can directly precipitate a loss, plain and simple. I almost wish I could celebrate more heartily here, because with the Patriots advancing to the Super Bowl, I'd love to create a video exclaiming, "The Patriots were phenomenal. What a huge win." And while their defense did play well, it's challenging to heap excessive praise on the New England defense for containing Jarrett Stidham. One interception was more a result of a baffling decision by the Broncos than a defensive masterstroke. Denver also had several dropped passes. Perhaps the most significant factor on offense for New England was Drake May's mobility. However, even before the weather deteriorated in the second half, the Broncos' offense was stagnant, struggling to move the chains. I believe their initial first down finally came as the weather worsened. The statistics tell a telling story. The Patriots secured 12 first downs to Denver's 11. Crucially, New England managed only 2 first downs via the pass. 2. That underscores my central point. The entire game was pivoted on that easy, turnover-derived touchdown. That single play lost Denver the game. It was the Patriots' only touchdown and, frankly, their only genuine scoring threat throughout the entire contest. Thus, it simply devolves into a case of poor football. It becomes a display of bad football. And I believe that is an utterly crushing manner in which to lose any game, but especially one of this magnitude, the AFC Championship. Perhaps the sole silver lining in a loss of this nature is that it effectively shatters any illusion that one could feel confident about winning a Super Bowl with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback. He showed flashes of competence briefly, but the game provided a front-row seat to the reality of the situation. Yes, that is a backup quarterback. That is precisely what a backup quarterback looks like. The Broncos also had difficulties establishing their running game. Ironically, Stidham himself was their most effective runner at times. Yet, there were other moments where he should have used his legs in the deteriorating conditions and didn't, leaving you to question the judgment on the field. Credit is due to Drake May for recognizing that necessity, 10 carries for 65 yards. Furthermore, credit goes to Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels for a brilliant play call at a critical moment, effectively icing the game by putting the ball in May's hands on a rollout, where he only had to beat one man. Play calling and decision-making matter immensely. More often than not, They are the differentiating factors between victory and defeat. It's not the inherent magic of a Drake May, a Patrick Mahomes, a Lamar Jackson, a Jalen Hurts, or a Saquon Barkley. It's the question: what was the play call? What decision was made in the most crucial moments? We have now witnessed consecutive playoff games lost due to faulty decision-making in pivotal situations. From Ben Johnson to Sean Payton, the pattern holds. When you have a chance to go up 10-0 at home in a conference championship, with your defense dominating and your team led by a backup quarterback, that represents a massive potential victory. It is a gift-wrapped opportunity. You must seize it. Take those points. During my live stream, I emphasized exactly that. Take the points because, at a minimum, if your backup quarterback makes a mistake, or the Patriots pull off one great play, you still hold at least a 3-point lead in a worst-case scenario. And then literally, the worst-case scenario unfolded. The quarterback fumbled, the Patriots scored an easy touchdown, and suddenly, the game is tied. When you're tied with a backup quarterback in such a high-stakes environment, it psychologically feels like you're already losing. Let's be honest. One could further argue that this new pressure directly impacted the subsequent offensive series, leading to additional chaos. So, it's just a bad situation all around. It feels strange to label this a heartbreaker, considering the backup quarterback situation and the 10-7 scoreline. But throughout the entire broadcast, I kept thinking, the Broncos should have won this game. They genuinely should have. Honestly, a part of me, and I believed in the Broncos all season, was excited for them and was a big proponent of Bo Nix, also wants to see a compelling Super Bowl. I thought, at least Drake May has the potential to be great and elite on the Super Bowl stage. Having watched this game, I would have had zero confidence that the Broncos offense could have mustered anything against a Super Bowl caliber opponent. I'm being completely forthright. I do not feel they could have. Regarding the New England Patriots, I think, okay, great. At least we get to see Drake May in the Super Bowl. I'm excited to see what that looks like and what kind of performance he can deliver against either the Seahawks or the Rams. I had been an advocate for the Jarrett Stidham storyline and had supported the Broncos from the start, but I did not like what I observed in this game. I was impressed defensively. They sacked Drake May 5 times and hit him consistently. They held him to 10 completions on 21 attempts for a mere 86 yards. And let's not overstate the snow's impact. It certainly played a role, but you contained Drake May. He only hurt you on a couple of runs. Nearly half his rushing yards came on one 28-yard scamper. So, he wasn't running rampant all day. The Broncos' defense executed a fantastic game plan. Therefore, don't let anyone convince you that the weather was the definitive cause of this result. It introduced an element of weirdness, without a doubt. But that is not the complete narrative. It simply isn't. The story is decision-making. However, a shout-out is warranted to the New England Patriots for making the correct decisions and the necessary plays in a 10-7 defensive battle. This has to be one of the lowest-scoring conference championship games in recent memory. Even under perfect conditions, it's not difficult to imagine the game ending 10-7 given how it was unfolding. Even smaller details, like failing to improve field position for a potential game-tying field goal attempt at the end of the first half, proved costly. It's a tough defeat. In hindsight, once Bo Nix was injured, the chances of winning the AFC and the Super Bowl plummeted dramatically. That is such a disappointment. While live streaming and interacting with the chat, I kept thinking how much I wished we could see Bo Nix in these conditions. These are the exact thrilling, heroic moments where we get to witness what great quarterbacks can accomplish. I just wish we had that opportunity with Nix, but we didn't. That's the unfortunate nature of sports. Those are my reflections. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What are your thoughts on the Denver Broncos falling to the New England Patriots 10-7? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one, whether you agree or disagree. Let's get some discussions going, let's have some debates, but ultimately, let's have fun. Please consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and would love for you to be part of it. I want to create something we all feel connected to and excited about. I believe we're well on our way. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it significantly helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.